Good morning, Michelle Cook here, and I just want to give our community an update on a very sad incident that happened last night on Debbie Lane. I'll recap the incident and then I'll answer any questions that you might have. So last night in the 1700 block of Debbie Lane, which is in Orange Park, we had two 13-year-old boys that were in a house. Apparently one of the young men lives there and the other one is a friend. Sometime during the early evening, ages 10 to 14 showed up at the house and began beating on the windows and beating on the door, challenging the two boys that were inside the house to come out and fight them. This apparently lasted several minutes. The two boys inside the house called some friends and asked some friends to come over and help back them up. A few minutes later, a car pulls up, and at least three boys were in the car that showed up. They were ages 13 to 17. Let me go back to the four boys that showed up on foot to challenge the boys inside the house to a fight. Those boys were ages 10 to 14. So they are beating on the windows, beating on the door. The boys inside the house are scared. They call their friends. A car pulls up. At least three boys are in that car, ages 13 to 17. The two groups of boys that are outside the house start fighting. Somebody, at least one person, brandishes a knife and begins stabbing during the fight. One of the two boys that were inside the house came out also apparently and allegedly armed with a knife, and we had a very large fight involving a total of 9 boys in the front yard of the house. 911 calls started coming in at about 8:25. Deputies arrived on scene along with Clay County Fire Rescue, and we had 5 boys that needed to be transported due to their injuries to 2 local hospitals. Sadly, this morning, one of the 13-year-old boys involved has succumbed to his injuries and has passed away. There are 2 boys that still remain hospitalized. I am not have not been updated on their condition this morning, but we have 5 that were transported. 1 has passed away, 2 were released, and 2 are still in the hospital. We do not know what started this fight. We are still investigating this incident. We believe that we have identified the 9 boys total that were there on scene. However, there is a possibility that other boys may be involved and fled the scene before we arrived. So we're asking any parents or kids who may have been involved or may have known about this fight or why it happened to please call us at 264-6512. All of the parents of these kids have been notified, and everybody at this point is cooperative. We have a long investigation ahead of us, and with that, I'll take any questions.
Total of 2 knives involved?
That is still under investigation. It appears at this time there was at least 2 people armed with knives.
Do you know what kind of knife?
No, ma'am.
Are there any charges at this point being considered for the perpetrators?
The question is about charges. We're very early in this investigation. In fact, we're very, very early, and so that's going to be something that is reviewed. The state attorney did respond last night. Members from the state attorney's office did come out last night to help begin the investigation, but at this time, I don't know if any charges are going to be filed.
As a mother yourself, when you hear something like this, have to report to a scene like this, how are you processing this?
I mean, it's tough. It's the week of Thanksgiving, and instead of being thankful, we have a family of a 13-year-old child that's going to have to plan a burial, a funeral. And, you know, that's extremely, extremely sad. And, you know, I grieve for the families.
Sheriff, the home where this happened at, was this a parent of one of the individuals that was involved?
Yes, sir, we believe so. We believe one of the 2 boys that were originally inside the house is the son of the owner of the house.
Do we know where they were at this time, at the time of the incident?
No, sir. It was early evening, probably around 7:30, 7:45 when this all took place, and the 2 boys, the 2 13-year-olds, were in the house alone.
If I may also ask, if any young men are watching this live on the website or anything, and they may find themselves in a situation like that where people are banging on a door, challenging them to a fight, do you have any advice on what young people should do in a situation like this?
Absolutely. I mean, any young person who feels threatened in any way, call 911. You know, call us. We are here to protect and serve everybody. And And, I wish these young men would have called 911 instead of their friends. And unfortunately, this morning we have a dead child. So if anybody feels like, they're being threatened in any way, please call us.
The 13-year-old who passed away, do we know if that was a 13-year-old who was inside the house originally, or if that was one of the boys who showed up among that first group? Do we know specifically who that 13-year-old child was?
I believe that 13-year-old child is one that showed up. I don't know if he was within the first group of boys that showed up or the second.
Was anyone else hurt in any way besides the 5 that went to the hospital?
Not that we're aware of. The concern, however, is that there may have been, we know we have a total of 9 that we've identified. The concern is that there may be other young boys that were out there who fled, either on foot or in the vehicle. And that's why we're asking anybody who may have been involved or on scene to please come forward.
This is a huge act of violence in a relatively quiet area and neighborhood. What is your message to the community at this point?
Stay vigilant. That is a quiet neighborhood. That is a safe neighborhood, and unfortunately we've had this very tragic incident, and we're going to know where you're. Please give us a call. All right, if there's no more questions, I'm going to wrap. We will do an additional follow-up investigation as we get more information. We will let you guys know. Thank you.
Thank you.